We did it. We actually did it. We went out and bought what so many people would call the ultimate prize, the holy grail hypercars, a Bugatti Veyron. This is a car that redefined what speed means, what engineering means, what excess means. On paper, it's perfect. In reality, right now, it's sitting in front of me in pieces. And I'm starting to understand why so many people say owning one of these isn't a dream. It's a controlled chaos wrapped in carbon fiber and leather. Because the truth is, this isn't just a car. It's a machine built to a level that almost feels untouchable, engineered with a precision that borders on obsession. And when something like this breaks, it doesn't break like a normal car. It unravels. Slowly, methodically, expensively. Every fault reveals another layer of complexity you didn't know existed. We've already started digging into it, and what we found is genuinely concerning. There's a radiator leak, and not a small one either. Something in the engine isn't quite right. A misfire that doesn't make sense yet, lurking somewhere in that quad-turbocharged W16 monster. And then there's the electrical system. At some point in this car's life, someone decided to stick a 40-amp fuse where it absolutely did not belong. That single decision, that one moment of incompetence or desperation, nearly turned this entire car into a burnt-out shell. A million-pound car was almost reduced to scrap metal because of one wrong fuse. And that's when it really hits you. This isn't just about fixing a few issues. This is about stepping into a world where every small mistake carries massive consequences, where the margin for error is essentially zero. But here's the thing that's been sitting in the back of my mind since the moment we bought it, gnawing at me every time I look at this car. In my last project, the Chiron, things didn't exactly go smoothly. When I tried to get parts, when I reached out for support, Bugatti shut the door. Completely. They said it was unsafe, that they wouldn't support it, that the car wasn't whole enough to deserve their assistance. And that was that. The door was closed. The project was complicated beyond measure. This time, though, it's different. This isn't a pile of parts scattered across a workshop floor. This is a complete car. A real, running, well, sort of running Bugatti Veyron. There shouldn't be a reason for them to say no this time. There shouldn't be a reason for them to block us from accessing what we need. But there's that doubt. That lingering question I can't shake, no matter how much logic I apply to it. Are they going to help? Or am I already on some kind of blacklist without even knowing it? Is my name flagged somewhere in their system, marked as someone who doesn't play by the rules? Because if they don't help, if they decide this isn't worth their time or their reputation, this project doesn't just get harder. It becomes something else entirely. It becomes a battle against a system designed to keep outsiders exactly where they are. Outside. And when you start looking at what this car actually needs, you begin to understand just how serious that problem could be, how deep the roots of dependency run. Take the tires, for example. On a normal car, tires are simple. You wear them out, you replace them, job done. On this, they're not just tires. They're engineered components designed to survive speeds over 260 miles per hour. They're literally glued to the wheels to stop them from slipping under that kind of centrifugal force. Glued, not bolted, not clamped, permanently bonded. And when they wear out, you don't just pop down to your local shop with a credit card and good intentions. A new set costs £34,000, $43,000 for tires, for pieces of rubber. And here's the best part, the detail that really drives it home. You're supposed to replace them every 2,500 miles. That's not ownership. That's a subscription to insanity. That's commitment on a completely different level. Then there's the drive shaft. We pulled things apart, going deeper into the car's mechanical guts, and found something you never want to see. A torn CV boot with a hole big enough to let anything in. Water, dirt, debris, all of it potentially working its way into components that cost more than most people's cars. And if any of that has gotten inside and started corroding the joint, if the damage has spread beyond the surface, we're not talking about a simple fix. That shaft is responsible for handling over 1,000 horsepower, transferring brutal amounts of torque to the wheels. If it's damaged, if it's compromised in any meaningful way, it's not just expensive, it's catastrophic. It's the kind of failure that cascades. And then you get to the service. A standard service on one of these cars isn't just an oil change and a quick inspection with a clipboard. It's a full procedure, a ritual almost. 16 different drain plugs. 16 fluids that need be handled in a very specific way, at very specific temperatures. A gearbox that requires its own careful process just to change a filter, like performing surgery with a manual written in a language only a few people speak. And the cost? Around $20,000. Every single time. Not every 10 services. Every one. It's like every single part of this car is designed to remind you that you're not really in control, that you're just participating in something much bigger, much more complicated, and much more expensive than you ever expected. You're a guest in Bugatti's world, and the rent is astronomical. Even the small things aren't safe from this philosophy. The arch-lining bolts, tiny, insignificant bits of hardware that most people would never notice, are rusty, corroded. Normally, you just replace them without a second thought. Walk into any parts store, grab a bag of stainless bolts, move on with your life. But here, they might look like standard parts, like something you could pick up anywhere. But if you go through Bugatti, if you order them through official channels, you just know the price is going to be ridiculous. Because nothing about this car is normal. Nothing about it is simple. Even the mundane is exotic. And then there's the biggest issue of all. The one thing that turns this entire situation from difficult into borderline absurd, from a challenge into a symbol of everything this car represents. The keys. You'd think a car like this would have some kind of extraordinary, futuristic key system. Biometric readers. Retinal scanners. Something that matches the price tag and the performance. But the main ignition key? It's surprisingly ordinary. It looks and feels like something straight out of a Volkswagen, which, given the corporate family tree, actually makes sense. You put it in, you turn it, and the car comes to life, well, as much as it can in its current state. The engine rumbles. The systems wake up. It feels almost normal. But that's only half the story. Because sitting next to the driver's seat is a small slot. Easy to overlook if you don't know what you're looking for. Easy to ignore. But that slot is everything. That's where the second key goes. The speed key. The piece that transforms this car from incredibly fast to absolutely unhinged. Without it, this car isn't what it's supposed to be. Without it, you don't get the full experience, the full personality. The power is limited, capped at around 850 horsepower, which sounds insane because it is. Most supercars would kill for that number, but it's not what this car was built to be. It's not the full Veyron. With the speed key, everything changes. The car lowers itself, hunkers down closer to the ground. It adjusts its aerodynamics, shifting flaps and vents into their optimal positions. It prepares itself for its true purpose, its reason for existing. And then you get all of it, all 1,001 horsepower, the full capability, the full identity of the Veyron, the legend, and ours doesn't have it. Somewhere along the line, it was lost, or removed, or locked away in a safe by a previous owner who never planned to use it. And without it, we're left with half a machine, half the experience, half the story. A Veyron that can't fully be a Veyron. I've heard the rumors. Stories about how much these keys cost to replace, whisper in forums and garages like urban legends. Numbers that don't even sound real. $100,000 just for a key. Not because of the material, not because it's made of platinum or encrusted with diamonds, but because of the coding, the security, the entire process behind validating and programming it. It's not a key. It's access to a different tier of performance, and Bugatti charges accordingly. And if Bugatti decides they don't want to sell us one, if they look at the situation and decide we're not the right kind of owner, then that's it. We bought a car that can never truly be what it was meant to be, a thoroughbred with a permanent limp. So there's only one thing left to do. Find out. Sitting there, phone in hand, it feels strangely tense. It's just a phone call. A simple conversation with a parts department or a service advisor. But it doesn't feel simple, because this call decides everything. Whether this project moves forward with support, with access to the ecosystem Bugatti has built, or whether we're completely on our own, left to figure things out through improvisation and sheer stubbornness. There's even a moment where I consider not using my own name, just in case. just to avoid any recognition, any history, any baggage that might come with it. Maybe if I'm just Andrew, just another guy with a Veyron, and some questions, things go differently. Maybe the conversation stays neutral. So I make the call, one dealership, then another, waiting, listening, try to read between the lines of every word they say, every pause, every carefully crafted response. And then it becomes clear. They're not saying no, not directly. They're not refusing to sell parts, not outright. The words are polite, professional even, but what they are saying is something else entirely. If we want anything, parts, service, support, the car has to go to them, physically. It has to be transported to their facility, placed in their care. And once it's there, it doesn't leave until they decide it's ready, until they've done the work, their way, on their timeline, at their price. The parts don't come to us. We go to them. And in that moment, it clicks. This isn't just a policy. It's a system, a structure designed to maintain complete control over the car, over the process, over the outcome, over the entire ownership experience. If you want access, you play by their rules. You surrender autonomy in exchange for expertise. It's not a refusal. It's something more subtle, more restrictive, more total. It's control, pure and absolute. And standing there, hearing that, processing the implications, there's a decision to make. Because handing the car over means giving up everything this project is about. Independence, the challenge, the idea that we can take something like this and understand it, fix it, bring it back ourselves, that we can demystify it, prove that even the most complex machines are still just machines. And that's not something we're ready to give up. Not yet, maybe not ever. So if they won't work with us on our terms, if they won't meet us halfway, we find another way. We always do. Back in the workshop, the mood shifts. It's no longer about waiting for answers from people who may never give them. It's about creating our own answers, building our own solutions. If we can't get a fuse box through official channels, we build one. We take something from another car, a Lamborghini Urus, something with similar electrical demands, and reshape it, adapt it, make it work. Piece by piece, connection by connection, we start reclaiming control. We start making this car ours. Wires are cut, stripped, cleaned, reconnected. Switches that would normally be replaced at huge cost are carefully disassembled and restored instead. Every problem becomes a puzzle. Every limitation becomes a challenge to overcome. Every obstacle becomes proof that there's always another way. And it's not easy. None of this is easy. The tolerances are tight. The systems are interconnected in ways that aren't immediately obvious. But it's possible. That's the point. That's what keeps us going. While all of this is happening, the workshop doesn't slow down. It never does. There are always other projects, other distractions, other moments of chaos that demand attention. Liam's taken his Audi R8 and wrapped it bright pink. It's impossible to ignore, impossible to have a neutral opinion about. Whether you love it or hate it, it makes a statement. It's bold. It's his. And then there's the G-Wagon. Finally fixed after chasing an issue that didn't make sense for far too long, that kept presenting symptoms without revealing causes. Turns out it was something small. A random aftermarket diode someone installed years ago, causing the entire dashboard to light up like a warning Christmas tree. It's always the small things, the overlooked details, the modifications made with good intentions that create problems years later. But even with it fixed, running properly again, there's a realization. Not every car sticks with you. Not every project means something long-term. And sometimes the best thing to do is let it go. Pass it on. Give someone else the chance to experience it, to create their own memories. Because right now, all focus comes back to one thing. The Veyron, standing next to it, looking at what it is and what it could be. The situation is absolutely clear. This isn't just a rebuild. It's a fight against complexity, against cost, against a system designed to keep people out, to maintain exclusivity, not just through price, but through process. Bugatti has built something incredible, truly incredible, but they've also built a world around it that's hard to enter and even harder to navigate without them. A walled garden with very high walls. They control the parts. They control the access. They control the knowledge. They even control the full potential of the car itself, locked behind a key that costs more than most cars. And now, we're standing right in the middle of that world, trying to find our own way through it, trying to prove something that maybe doesn't need proving but feels important anyway. There are two paths forward. One is simple. Hand the car over. Let them take over. Accept whatever comes with that. The cost, the timeline, the process, the loss of control. Trust the experts. Become a customer instead of an owner. The other is uncertain, difficult, full of obstacles we don't even know about yet, problems that haven't revealed themselves. It's the hard way, the stubborn way, but it's ours. So we keep going. We keep pushing. We find the parts. We solve the problems. We chase that missing piece, the key, the power, the full potential of what this car is supposed to be. Because one way or another, we're not stopping until this Veyron is complete, until it's running the way it was meant to, until every single one of those 1,001 horsepower is alive and working, until that W16 engine is singing at full voice. And if that means doing things the hard way, if that means fabricating solutions and finding workarounds and challenging every assumption about what's possible outside the official network, then that's exactly what we'll do, because this is only the